everyone, my name is Deanda. I am a second grade teacher in North Florida. I am in my 14th year of teaching, and my first 8 years were in public school, and the last 6 years I have been teaching at a private Christian school. So this school year, completely different for everyone who has anything to do with education, whether that is students, parents, administrators, teachers, custodians, bus drivers, lunch people, like you name it. If you have anything to do with education, your life looks a little bit different this year than it did maybe 365 days ago. Like, seriously, if you had asked anyone a year ago or had told anyone a year ago, like, hey, by the way, you just might want to start preparing yourself because next school year, you are going to be kind of homeschooling your child and working at the same time. And oh, if you're a teacher, you're going to be teaching kids online through your computer screen and also face-to-face. And you're going to have some students who come like twice a week, and then they're going to be learning online the other 3 days a week. And then you're also going to have some students who come twice a week, but not Monday, Wednesday. You're going to have some Tuesday, Thursday students who come in and then they're at home on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So prepare yourself. Like, none of us would have believed it, right? But here we are. So this year, my school has chosen a hybrid model of teaching and learning. So that means that I have some students who are completely virtual, learning virtually at home. I have some students who are completely full-time face-to-face, and then I have some students who can choose to either come in twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays or twice a week on Thursdays and Fridays. So here's what a typical week looks like for me in my classroom. I have I'm up at the front of the room. I have my laptop in front of me. I'm teaching my students on Zoom, and then behind my laptop are my face-to-face students, and we're just all learning together. We are using packets of student work. So every Friday, parents come and pick up the packet of work for the following week. It has everything in there that they need, and then my students who are in the classroom also have their packets that we work through. Like, we're just all working through the same packet. But on a typical day, we begin at 8 o'clock in the morning and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I teach all subjects, which is pretty typical for any kindergarten through second grade teacher. For the most part, we teach all subjects. So we start our day with Bible, then kids go to PE for 20 minutes. Then we come back for 15 minutes. And then they have music actually not too long after they come back from PE. So that gives me a 45-minute break. Students are online. My Zoom students are online for PE. They're also online for music. Then we do reading in ELA for a couple hours and have a lunch break. When we come back, we finish up any grammar or ELA that we did not finish before lunch. Then we go into math and end our day with science and writing. So that's a typical day. We're just working through the packet all day. We're not really doing the Google Classroom or any other type of learning management system. And like I said, students are online pretty much the entire day. My virtual students are online the entire day, and it's all synchronous learning. So even when I do assign like say online reading assignments or online math assignments through our curriculum, they still are on Zoom while they're doing those things. So reflecting and setting goals has been very different for me this year. I tend to be just a very reflective person in general. So of course that carries over into my teaching. And I have not had time to just really sit down and say like, okay, how are things going? Like, what's going well, what's not going well? And I tend to reflect on the fly because things are just so crazy, especially like when we first started this year with hybrid teaching. That was a lot. And so I was honestly just trying to make it day by day, moment by moment, just kind of plowing through. But what I'm doing now is like, if I notice in the moment that something is not going well, I might jot it down on a sticky note to make like a note to myself that, okay, we got to figure something out here and just make things better. Maintaining the feedback loop has been pretty tricky for me. I remember telling one of my colleagues at the beginning of the year, like, I just feel like a substitute teacher, and I've never felt like that before, which is really weird because I've spent so much time making these packets of student work and planning the lessons, but then still feeling like I really had no idea where my students actually were. And that's because just teaching online is very different. And because we're using the packets, like I can't get immediate feedback on how my students, or I can't see immediately how my students are doing on their assignments, because like we'll start working on the packet on Monday all the way through Friday, and then Friday afternoon, parents either drop the packet off physically or they can submit it through homework drop via RenWeb. RenWeb is kind of our school management system that we use. So like it's really tricky feeling like you don't really know where your students are. And I'm not feeling like that quite as much, I guess, because like now I'm in the process of like getting the packets, grading them, and just with asking questions in class and seeing how students answer, I feel like I have a better handle on where my students are, but it's just not the same as like completely face-to-face instruction. And so it used to be that like I would be assessing students from the very first day of school, like when they walk in and you give them that little worksheet to work on while, you know, everyone is trickling in and you're kind of putting supplies away, and you just walk around and you don't see how students are doing. Like I didn't have that experience this year, or you're putting books out for students to read and you're just like listening in. All of that is assessment. It's not formal assessment, it's formative assessment, but it's just kind of gathering information on where your students are as learners and being able to tailor, you know, their learning experiences based on the things that you're observing. And it's been tricky with not being able to do that. Now, one thing that I am able to do via Zoom that I have always done as a teacher is a really quick check-in to see, a really quick check-in to gauge student understanding. And so we do something called Ready, Set, Show Me, and they show me a 1 if they don't understand at all. It's a 2 if they're like, I kind of got it, but I'm a little shaky. And then a 3 is, Ms. Brown, I got this. I know, I understand, I can tell you, I can teach a friend. And so we all say Ready, Set, Show Me, and they do this. Ready, set, and then when I say show me, they show me whatever their number is. And so that is helpful. And like if I have students who are like at a 2 or a 1, then I'm able to pull them into a breakout room and work with them either one-on-one or just in a smaller group. Now, because my class is so small this year, it already is like a small group, but sometimes I'm able to just work like one-on-one or with just 2 students or just 3 students at a time and kind of give them what they need in that way. So like I've been pretty much keeping it basic with the tools that I'm using for online learning and just using what I have and not trying to reinvent the wheel too much. So for the most part, I'm able to make sure that the students who are learning online have the same access that the students have who are in the classroom. My challenge though has been making sure that the students in the classroom have the same access to the learning experiences as my students who are learning online. And that's because the students who are in the classroom don't have laptops. So every other year, students in the classroom have been able to get online and use technology. We have several technology cards or laptop cards, and whenever you need to use laptops, you just go check them out, use them, and then bring them back. Because of COVID and because so many students are learning from home, all of those laptops are checked out to students who are at home. And so we don't have extra laptops in my building for students who are face-to-face at school. So my school has made it teacher training essential to give students who are learning online and in the classroom a better learning experience. And because we're using new curriculum this year, we have taken 3 weeks where we do 2 hours a week, just learning all about the new reading curriculum and just taking that professional development and at the time, it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to stay after school for an extra 2 hours, for this professional development. But it's been tremendously helpful. For example, like I would have still been making my own reading PowerPoints, or I don't know, maybe I would have burned out from it at this point. And I was doing that because I didn't know that we had access to those things until I took the professional development. So that has been tremendously helpful in just in teaching in a hybrid model. So I think that one of the best things that my school has done to create really the best possible experience for students who are learning both in the classroom and at home online is to give parents the option of allowing their children to be educated in the way that they feel safest and most comfortable with. And then also for the students who are coming to school face to face, I really am glad that my school is sticking strictly to the safety protocols and adhering to the safety guidelines that have been rolled out by the CDC. Because our enrollment has decreased, social distancing is easier. And like if a student comes to school with some symptoms, like we're not playing that, they've got to go home, and we'll remove them from the classroom and call the parents. And just with like my school doing everything that we can to maintain the safety, that just kind of takes a weight off of my shoulder as a teacher, because over the summer, like there was a lot of mystery, like what are going to be the guidelines? How are things going to work? We really didn't find out until like maybe a week or two before it was time to come back to school. So there was kind of a lot of anxiety and like just what is going on, what's going to happen. And just seeing that now that I'm in school, I've been here for a couple months now, things are better than what I thought they would be. So that is definitely a blessing and a very fortunate situation for me to be in.